Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Born Reddy Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Reddy, and I have a story for you that you're never going to believe that happened to me just yesterday. And I don't know why this keeps happening to me. All I know is bees, wasps, any buzzing buzzers, um, they are, they just love me. They are super attracted to me, and I don't know why. Throughout my whole life, they have just been following me, landing on me, give me gentle kisses. And honestly, I don't know if it's because I'm a sweet person. I don't know if it's because I'm very colorful, or it's because I'm just a delicate flower. It's probably that. It's probably, yeah, you're probably thinking he's just fragile and he's a very delicate flower, just like we talked about in the last episode that I'm a sensitive soul. Okay, but I don't know why this keeps happening to me. So yesterday it happened again. But before we tell that story, we got to go back a few months and let you know that it happened for the first time in a way where I wasn't expecting this reaction and this part of me that I've never heard me yell out before. So let's back up a few months. The story starts in Lake Tahoe. I'm with my buddies, Mark and Anthony, and we are on our way to a beach. And this particular morning, I was already in a complicated mood, and I won't get into the details, but let's just say that I wasn't all there. So as I'm driving, I got Mark next to me, Anthony in the back. I'm just caught up in my head thinking, and I'm not really even paying attention. Like, obviously, I'm driving. You know, those types where you just like, those types of drives where you're just like locked into the thought and emotions and feel. I'm trying to regulate everything. And all of a sudden, as I'm driving, I feel something crawling on my leg. And it kind of takes my attention away from driving. And I look down and there's a wasp, a huge wasp just crawling on my leg. And without any hesitation, I screamed. No, I let out the biggest warrior cry in a way that I've never done before. And it made me feel embarrassed to do this. But as it's happening, all I can think of is I'm going to die. I scream. I shoot off the wasp. I scare Mark and Anthony. There's a UPS truck right next to me. Luckily, there's open space, but because I'm looking down, I'm swerving a little bit, as you would imagine. So we're all freaked out. As I'm driving, I'm kind of looking to make sure I'm not going to hit anything, but I am trying to find this wasp, and instinctively, I'm bashing it to death because I'm terrified. I'm terrified. And you guys, I pull over to the side of the road, and I remember thinking, holy fuck. Like I'm shaking, I'm nervous, all because this little tiny, brave little bee, wasp, was crawling on me and not even doing anything. And it took me a few minutes to kind of just think about what happened, but I was really embarrassed. Not because my friends were in the car and I scared them, and it was a scream that came out of me. I never heard that type of scream, and it was kind of like a scream for help or like grieving, like a grief, like or like a release. Like it cracked me open in a way that I never screamed before, and I was thinking, how did I even? I can't even do it right now for you. I wouldn't do it obviously to hurt your ears, but I wouldn't be able to conjure up that same energy, and it made me think a lot about it. So I went to ChatGPT. We talked a little bit about like why do bees keep landing on me, especially in times like this. Now, the only other time this happened to me as I'm driving was about 20 years before that. And that time, I didn't panic. I saw it on my shirt. I quietly pulled over and just shoot it off. Now, usually, just in general, me and bees kind of have a complicated relationship. And what I really think it comes down to is misunderstanding, like all relationships. And I was trying to compare that moment to this moment and being and this moment I felt like I just haven't been able to regulate everything that's happening to me. And I think part of that was for me um to give myself grace and to let out things that are happening to me in a way that I don't usually do, screaming. Because as you know, I went through a breakup, a move out, and uh, I'm in through a career change. Like all these things were happening at once, and so you don't really get to practice, letting out these emotions. And that was the first time in, gosh, it was a few months ago, but the first time I realized that I need an outlet. And so but it really stuck with me. We laugh to this day about that moment. My friends being terrified in the car. They're scared for their life, but the scream, you guys, was if is was if like you're in a slasher or a horror movie getting chased and run down by Michael Myers or Jason, and it's a type of scream that you're about to die. That's the type of scream. I'm not proud of it. I'm definitely embarrassed, but through the embarrassment, when I got over it, I was just trying to understand why am I so embarrassed about it, and it's because I don't let myself to be that vulnerable, especially in front of people, and it's the scariest thing to do that because then it lives there forever. Okay, so yesterday, I just had one of those shit days again, and it's been a reoccurring theme in the last week. And no, I can't blame it on the full moon or Mercury retrograde this time. It's the lack of sleep. And you would think being here for almost 6 weeks now, here in Ireland, I would get used to the time change, but I haven't been sleeping. And so every day I wake up in just a groggy, grumpy mood. And I'm not trying to fight it. I'm just sitting with it. I'm doing all the things that we talked about. I meditate. I even take, showers now in the morning before I go to the gym, just so I'm warm and loose. And then I connect really well with water. My thoughts and my emotions seem to flow better. Like I'm doing all the things to regulate my emotions in the morning, so I'm okay. But recently, because there's been a lot happening, I'm also prioritizing other things like my dad. Um, and so juggling all that has been a challenge for me on top of not getting sleep. Just wanted to give you that context. So yesterday we had some errands to do in the morning, but I had an appointment yesterday to go see a follow-up appointment to go see D, the psychic. And I take my dad to his appointment and he's running late. And we get there and they're taking extra time. So I have 30 minutes to make it back to the appointment, which I'm not going to make. I'm going to be about 5 or 10 minutes late. And that's exactly what happened. And it kind of put me in a rushing mood, and I hate to feel rushed. Usually, I like to give myself 10, 15 minutes, especially driving around these Irish country roads. You want to take your time. Very bumpy, very narrow, very windy, and people drive super efficient. We'll say that. They zip very fast through these roads, and I don't. I do not. Anyways, when I got to my appointment, unfortunately, Dee was feeling under the weather and she let me know. She was waiting for a game time decision to see if she changed, but unfortunately she didn't. So when I got there, I was thinking, okay, you know what? It's all good. I care for your health. Obviously, I want you to feel better. I can come back to you. And this is all for a good reason. So, and I really do feel that way. So then I forced myself to go to the gym. And here I am talking myself going to the gym with this energy that is very moody, like very miserable. And I think a lot of it is because I've been pushing myself so much physically and mentally showing up that I'm just run down. So yesterday in the gym, I was doing my 10-minute stretching, my yoga, before I jump on the treadmill for a warm up. And I laid there for about 10 minutes, just laying on the ground in the fake artificial grass, thinking, I don't want to be here. And it's a really interesting thing. I'm telling you a longer story to get to the second part, which is what happened, Anthony. I get there and I'm just laying there and I'm thinking, should I listen to my body and not work out today, or should I push through? And I was like stubborn, so I was like, you're gonna fucking do this, and we're not leaving until it's completed. So much that when I started the first exercise, I recorded myself saying, I'm not leaving here until it's finished. And then I was like, I'm going to save it for later in case I want to post it, which I didn't. And then I got through that exercise, and then I went to the next exercise, and I finished my whole back exercises. Um, but then there was a point where I was like, I have nothing left in the tank. And so I was proud of myself that I stuck through it, but then I gave myself some grace and said, all right, you know what? I'll give myself a rest. I can come back and do biceps or do the other workouts later. So as I'm driving back home, I'm yawning. And this is midday. I've been up for about 4 or 5 hours, maybe 6, and I'm yawning, I'm tired, and all I can think about is rest. But here's the thing, I'm being so hard on myself. Like I'm beating myself up over nothing because I feel like I failed. I feel like I gave up, which is not the case because what I really did was show up and give everything I could possibly give in the tank and then say, okay, now I'm going to listen. I did what I needed to do, at least the most important part. And now I'm ready to give myself some rest and grace. So as I'm driving, I'm halfway through, and I remember yawning to the point where I'm like, oh my God, I've yawned like 7 times in the last minute. And then I heard this strange noise, like almost like a rock hitting the windshield. And it like kind of startled me. And I went, is the window okay? What the hell happened? Like, what was that noise? It was weird. It was not quite a pebble or a rock on the window, but it sounded just like that, like a very loud, bah, you know? Hopefully it didn't hurt your ears. And can I get a little comfortable here? Okay. Um, so I didn't think anything of it. My window's down maybe a little bit just to get some airflow in on both sides. Didn't think anything of it. I'm almost home. And then for some reason, I kind of felt like there was something different as I was driving. I was like, oh, something's up. I looked down and there's the most biggest, hairiest, beautiful bumblebee on my shirt. You guys, I freaked out again. I yelled out and this warrior cry was completely different from the other one, but this same exact emotion, which was a yell for help. My body was like, just in panic mode. Code red, level 5, about to panic. This time, I pull over very fast. I remember still screaming that it's on me, but I'm not sure why I'm doing it because when I look down again, it's not moving. I open the door, I hold it in my shirt, and then I look at it very closely outside, and then I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you know what? This is a sign. This has to be a sign because this keeps happening to me. These bees keep landing on me for a reason. Not to mention there's one other part between those two incidents, maybe 2 months ago. One landed on me, like specifically landed on me, and thinking the same thing, like, why do you keep doing this? What is it about you guys? And I just remember picking it up and holding it, and I was just thinking like, wow, how brave of you to be here and land on me specifically right now in this moment, and this keeps happening to me. It must have hit the windshield or it must have hit the mirror and bounced in somehow and fell on my lap because um it was meant that way. I really do I really truly feel that way. So I'm looking at this bee in my hand. Guys, I'm about to cry. I'm about to cry as I'm holding this bee and just being overwhelmed with all these emotions that I'm feeling. And most of it is that I feel so bad the way I've been reacting to these buzzers because it's not that I'm afraid of them. It's just I don't know how to understand them. And this one specifically gave me permission to be comfortable with having these buzzers around. Now, I don't know about you, but like for a long time, they've caused me a lot of chaos. Okay. They've chased me down the street, leaving me breathless, and they have just popped up in, oh my God, one time in Ireland, actually, on a very uh, binge drinking night, as they call it, or session, as they call it here, a bee came up to my lips as I was sleeping and woke me up. And I remember thinking, like, what a kiss, to wake me up. And I could feel the buzz to this day. I don't know why. I don't know why I was feeling so emotional. I mean, I do. But then I started to think about my mom. Then I started to think about my relationship recently. Then I started to think about my life. And I was just thinking about all the things that have happened to me have been so challenging and so tough that I really haven't given myself permission to be vulnerable because I'm too hard on myself. And guys, I sat there not like bawling, but nearly in tears, getting choked up. And I gave, peace to this bee. I actually wrote a poem because after this happened, I was asking ChatGPT like, how can we how can we come to an agreement, like a peace, like a truce, Because I don't know what I'm supposed to learn other than I think these incidents are happening to me, they're landing on me or coming around me to stop me from being in my mind and my head and kind of open me up in a way where I wouldn't allow myself to, which is be vulnerable. And yesterday I took the rest of the day to just digest that. So I went home, I took a nap, I needed it. And then I wrote to chat. We wrote a poem together. I'm gonna read it for you because I think it's special and it's really nice. Um, and it's not something I get to do all the time. So bear with me, and we'll read this poem together. Here we go. I didn't come up with the title, but it says, "Dear, oh yeah, dear bees, wasps, and other buzzers. Dear bees, wasps, and other little buzzers, I've been afraid of you for as long as I can remember. I'm not even sure why or exactly. Maybe it's how you move, all wobbly and unpredictable. It's kind of like you're flying drunk through the air with no plan. That's so true. My words for sure. You've always made it uneasy. You've always made it me uneasy. I say you stinging, that's enough for most people, but for me, I took it personally because every time you show up, I freak out. And no matter how old I get, it's like I go back to being that kid again. I still remember the first kiss, my first day at Pop Warner football in Pee Wee, my first day in full pads. You landed on my arm and left your mark. And ever since, you've haunted me. Ever since that day, you've haunted me. Yeah. You've driven me mad and chased me until I couldn't breathe. There was that one time you crawled up my pants while I was refereeing a flag football game for kids. You stung me so close to my crotch that I yelled and I had to drop my pants in front of hundreds of parents and screaming children. That doesn't sound right, but that's exactly what happened. That's a great story. It was the first time I actually used a credit card to pull out your stinger, and yes, I still remember the sting. Then it was that one time I was playing basketball and I shot a ball, and a loose ball went into the grass, and one of your cousins, probably a wasp, hit me so hard in my hand it swelled up like a balloon. I didn't give up. I still shot the ball, of course, but my hand tripled in size. And now you're landing on me while I'm driving. And you're showing up on my walks. You're hovering near me. You're pulling out this wild warrior cry I didn't even know I had. You scared the hell out of me today. I screamed, and like something cracked open inside me. I pulled over, held your little body in my hand, and said, I'm sorry. And then I asked out loud, why do you keep showing up? Maybe, maybe you're just not here to hurt me. Maybe you're here to wake me up, to remind me that something needs to change. Because when I think about it, it's kind of beautiful how close you're willing to get to giants like us, how brave you are, and how your sting, knowing it's the end, how you will sting, knowing it's the end. That kind of courage, that's something I never gave you credit for. So here's what I'll say. I don't want to be afraid of you anymore. I don't want to panic every time you come near. I want to understand. I want to listen. If you land on me again, please be gentle. I promise I'll try my best to stay calm, and I mean no harm. All I want is peace between us. And if there's a message in your wings or a sign in your buzzing, I'm ready to receive it. I see you now, I feel you now, and from here on out, I acknowledge our bond. To your fallen, the ones who stung me and died in the process, I remember you all, and I honor all of you. I'm not saying I won't scream again, but I am saying I'm done living in fear. And if it means anything, I hope this finds its way to the hive. Thanks for your hard work, thanks for your courage, and thanks for being a part of this wild world that we share. Let me say that again. Thanks for being a part of this wild world we share. Always be yourself, and I'll always be me. With peace, Anthony Reddy. I really do hope it gets out there because I'm tired. I'm so tired. And the reflection part is not fun. It's not fun to always think back in those moments and feel vulnerable because they don't scar you. They just remind me like there's still depths and part of me that I'm not willing and ready to open. But those moments are reminders that we need it. We need it. So, all right, you guys, that's a cool little story, right? I feel a little better actually. I'm having another tired day. I don't know if you can see it in my eyes, but I don't know what it is, man. Just the sleep. I've been having crazy vivid dreams. Sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night multiple times. Last night I didn't, but I woke up. I'm just so groggy, and there's not enough coffee in the world to get me to my normal self. So, but here we are. We're still here. We are still here. Um, okay. What do I want to talk about today? Someone asked me again about podcasting, and they asked, "Are you truly happy doing this?" And I was like, "Wow, happiness, right?" That's so funny because like happiness to me is not only a feeling; it's like a circumstantial or situational kind of feeling. So when someone's asking, "You're happy doing this?" I'm like, "Yes, in this circumstance, in this space, and yes, this situation that's putting me in, I feel motivated and I feel excited, something I haven't felt in a long time." But what it's really given me is joy and gratitude because I get to practice doing this with you. And it reminded me kind of the first, um, let me think about this. It reminded me the first podcast that I listened to and thinking, this podcast was made for me. There's another person out there who is exactly like me. And that podcast, and I mentioned it before, is Jeanette McCurdy, Hard Feelings. She released a podcast a couple years ago. Actually, the first episode was on my birthday. I'll never forget it. And I just thought that it was a gift. It was a gift from the universe. And it was the only podcast I really connected to in a way where I was like, that's exactly how I want it to be. Unscripted, right? And unpolished, raw, real, and just rants and just stories. And I felt like that was more conversational. But since then, and other than hers, there's not another podcast out there. And I thought, well, that's what I need to do. And then I kept thinking, well, maybe the podcast is not only for me, even though selfishly, yes, this is for me. And yes, selfishly, this is what I would like to do. But maybe it's for other people to find something that's for them, which I found for myself. And I was thinking that that's a beautiful way of looking at it, that maybe I'm creating something that wasn't out there, which reminded me the first kind of entrepreneur venture that I've started, which was a clothing company called Basics. And the whole reason why I started Basics is because I wanted to create something that didn't exist and didn't exist the way I want it to be. And it was such a fun adventure. I learned so much and it opened up so many different avenues for me, which is the reason why I encourage everyone to find their thing. Now, I don't know if I talked about this specifically, but the best way to understand why I'm doing this is because I am still looking for purpose. Now, we talked about a lot of topics. The one thing that this project has given me is the completion of my ikigai. And I think I talked about ikigai, which is the Japanese meaning of finding your purpose, doing something good for the world, getting paid for it, and something you love. Like those four things all coming together. And selfishly, this is all the four things. You know, I love coming here because I get to share, I get to speak, and I get to tell you stories. I get to rant. I get to be whatever I'm feeling at this moment. I get to share it with all of you who choose to listen to, and hopefully it finds you eventually. And it's something that I hope to make um, a financial, a financial. What am I trying to say? I just hope it makes me money. You know, enough for me to focus on this full time. And I think it's part of it to giving back and something I absolutely love doing. So with all those things in mind, that was my answer to my friend. You know, because eventually I would love to have people on, which I talk about all the time, and we're so close, you guys. Like I don't know if you noticed, but I bought a new microphone, which means I have two microphones, which means I can have another person to come on very soon. So we're getting very close, and I just know that's going to open up so much more, and I can't wait for that to happen. But today you have me, and so it's a party of me, and so we should just keep rocking on. Other things that I've been also working on, and something I think is very important, is faith. Now, I've been reading a new book called Imperfections by Brené Brown. You may have heard of her and may have read some of her books. She is fantastic, um, great author, and she's able to say things in a way where I relate to, because I think her and I are very similar in the ways that we're very hard on ourselves, and sometimes we're fixed on a certain belief and also upbringing. Not like exactly similar, but like in ways where we can relate. And I think where I'm at in my life is that I'm still breaking off or breaking through old patterns, and also healing, and also forgiving and embracing a lot of things, and especially acceptance. And that has helped me with my faith. Now, faith turns into belief. Now, faith is just something that you feel and know that is right, but you can't see it happening. You can't see it just yet. It's something that you know will happen if you keep continuing to practice, but it's not there. Belief is something you do every day actionably, right? Putting into action, putting into purpose, and knowing that it is coming true because you're living it right now. Like this. Yes, this is not a big podcast show, but I love that it's mine, that I get to grow it, and through this progression, it gets to become something. And I have just so much belief in myself and this. And reading this book also has just given me all the confidence that I really need to embrace myself fully. And that has been something that's been very hard for me to do, especially in front of the camera, especially in front of you all. The other part of this is that her book also triggers me. There's so many things that she brings up that I feel triggered. And just to give you an example, so I love reading on the bike at the gym, or even walking at a very medium pace, I will say, speed, so I can still read and walk. But there's times where I'll read something and it hits me, and I stop reading and I start talking out loud. And because I get so lost in the thought and what she says, and I'm trying to justify it or condition it. And sometimes it's so deep that like I'm trying to resist it. But those are the moments that I'm really trying to show up and just be like, okay, like, yes, that happened and I can't change it, but that's fine, you know? But I'm trying to pull out more information. I'm trying to really let it flow and not stop the flow from happening, because a lot of times that I resist, it just makes it worse. Like being in this mood today. I'm not at my best. I'm not energetic. I'm not normal, but I think it's allowing me to really see the person who I am, because I'm different. I'm like this up and down always person. And I'm always practicing how to be myself no matter what mood I'm in. So this book has been triggering me. The other part that triggers me a lot when she brings up is that I'm never satisfied. This is something that I've been working on, I mean, really hard, because not only that I know that I'm never satisfied is something that I struggle with, but a lot of people in my life close to me have told me like this is going to be something that you are going to keep um, repeating, these tough cycles, because you're just never satisfied. And I keep thinking about, why is it that I feel never satisfied? I think part of it is knowing that you're capable of doing things better and beyond that you were able to do. Sometimes it's a project, but what helps of never being satisfying is really understanding the small wins and understanding that it's a process. And so celebrating those small wins for me has been something that I implemented when I'm working out, when I'm measuring progress. And it's also something that I'm trying to be okay with never being satisfied. I can't erase the feeling. I think it's something that's always going to be there to push me. But I think there's a way for me to balance it out where it's okay that today I'm not fully satisfied, but I'm on the path. I'm on the path to be satisfied or feel fulfilled. Now, the second part of that is feeling not worthy enough or not good enough for something. I think those two tie really well together. because I've been constantly trying to prove myself, and not necessarily always for me, but for the world, right? I'm always trying to validate myself, show my badge, and put in the effort and put on the work so I can feel worthy. And it's so exhausting. Another layer of that would be people pleasing, trying to please your parents, your friends, your teachers, your coaches, and trying to get the validation that you deserve or want, because it becomes this expectation. And these are all tied to old beliefs and old things that I've been struggling with my whole life up until the last maybe few years. Now, I do recognize there was a pattern. Let's say it again. I recognize there was a pattern that when my mom passed, my whole life changed. And I keep thinking like things have been so weird since that happened that I can't understand why. But now looking back, I see it. I'm breaking off old beliefs, old values, old things. So much trust that I put into my, let's say, belief, that I'm no longer looking for validation outward. I'm looking for only validation inward. I'm trying to find my own worthiness, being enough for myself, not for anyone else. Pause. It was funny. I had to take a drink of water, and all I could think of was the bee inside of my throat. Maybe it's a reminder. Um, okay, but let me wrap this up. So I'm reading this book. It's triggering me. It has all these layers, and I'm working on faith. I'm working on belief. I'm working on confidence. And one thing I really didn't understand that was happening through all this process is the resilience that I'm building or that I've been through, and the things that keep happening to me. I still choose to move forward. I do feel stuck at times, and I do fall into the false beliefs of I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve something, or I need to show my worth. But I'm just starting to understand that the resilience has built me to be tough and to overcome anything that comes my way. And when that hit me when I was reading the book, it just made me think like, the only one thing I'm missing through resilience is actually feeling accomplished. Like actually owning the resilience part. And I don't think I do that enough. I don't know about you. I don't know if we are able to own those things because the feeling's not really there. Like I guess like, yeah, I mean, I'm still here. I'm still trucking through. I survived all the things that happened to me, and everything is going to happen to you once in a while, right? But it's that choice of getting back up and pushing through and having that resilience to embrace. And that's something I find that we don't do enough is to own it. And so the second part of that, which I would like to share, is that I'm now trying to create energy, vibration, and frequency tied into these labels that we're using, right? They're tools. Words are tools. They don't own us. Oh my gosh, can I just tell you a quick story? It's like so random and offbeat, but my dad, God love him, he just doesn't care enough to say the correct words. My whole life, my whole life, he has been saying the wrong words, and it cracks me up every time. I appreciate it because he doesn't care enough to correct himself, but it's also fun for him, but it's also annoying. And I'm like, dude, why are you ever gonna learn? For example, as I'm coming upstairs to film this episode, he's like, are you gonna be doing your broadcast? Now he knows it's called a podcast. Okay. I could tell you other things like he calls marijuana Tijuana. He calls sushi Susie. He calls my friend Raul Rafu. Uh, he, he calls Taco Bell Yaco Bell, Yacos and Nacos when he's ordering. I can tell you stories about that. I just, when I think about words, sometimes I think it's playful. And you know what? Words don't own us. And I think about the imperfections and how he is. And it's just something that I appreciate about him, anyways. So when I fumble on words, I always go back to that. Like, I want a little bit more Papa Ready where I just don't give up, you know, about it. So Okay, so we talked about energy, vibration, and frequency. The reason why I bring that up is because I'm now trying to channel that emotion. And I'm doing it by smiling, breathing. Sorry, I had a burp. This time it was a protein bar because I haven't really eaten all day today. I also skipped out in the gym. You didn't need to know that, but today I was just like, you know what? It's raining. It's a nice day to just film and just be at peace. So I'm gonna give myself another grace day, and I'm gonna lean into all the nice things for rest and relaxation. I'm trying to cultivate that feeling, that belief, and that vision that I'm trying to match. So I'm trying to match confidence. I'm trying to match the belief. I'm trying to match joy, happiness, wealth, and I'm really trying to visualize what it feels like to have those things. Now the trick is it's not something you trying to attract. It's something that you actually believe that you have right now. And through this practice, it has pushed me to the point where if I don't do it before I start my day, or if I miss or I skip, I kind of look for it like as a crutch or as an aid to kind of get me on path, because I truly feel that if you conjure up all that feeling, that belief, I really think it will happen. And maybe there's no actual scientific evidence, but if we're thinking law of attraction and we're thinking belief, I would say do what worked for you, but for me, I believe it. I believe that channeling that energy, channeling that frequency, vibration, and matching it, that feeling, it's going to happen. And I believe that. I believe that really truly. And this book that I'm reading about imperfections has allowed me just to embrace all of it, to embrace me fully, and to trust what I'm doing and trust that it's all going to work out. You know what I'm saying? It's all going to work out. I'm not sure how we're doing on time again. I know I keep saying this, but I can go on and on about all these things. I think what the most important thing, if we're going to take out anything from this podcast, is that just be gentle with yourself. I'm such a sensitive soul. And saying that, like, it kind of hurts because it's like, how gentle do you want me to be in this tough, cold world that we live in? And sometimes it's not always fun to be gentle. And I don't always have that. I have so much fight in me, okay? So much resilience, and I'm constantly pushing me, but let's all thrive, okay? Okay, like or strive. Let's all strive to be a little more gentle. Is it thrive or strive? Now I'm just mixing up the fucking words, and I know the difference, but let's skip over it. Let's just bring gentleness into our lives. And I think if we're able to do that, if we're really able to allow ourselves to be gentle, we're going to learn a lot more about ourselves. And for me, I'm still trying to reach deep down and pull out all the things that are stopping me from being my best version. And I do have a closing statement that I made up, so I'll say this. So this podcast was an act of faith. Belief is what keeps it going. Patience is the bridge. Energy, vibration, and frequency are the reality I live, see, and breathe. And if it's your answer to, I'm glad you're here. Sometimes I forget to do these closing things, say these closing things, because it's hard to do this and think and put everything together and story tell, but it's so much fun. And when I look back and I do the editing and I'm watching myself, I'm so critical, but also I'm trying to embrace the part of I'm trying my best. You know, we're all just trying our best. We're all just showing up, trying to do whatever it is that we want to do. So, guys, have some grace, be gentle, be kind, and not to just everyone, but to yourself more than anyone, because you'll learn something, and you'll learn that you'll have resilience, you'll have faith, you have belief, and everything else that comes with it. Because we're all deserving. We don't need to prove our worthiness. We don't need to show our badge. We don't need to put effort. Being ourselves is enough. So I'm trying. So I'm trying to learn. I think that's it. I think we accomplished a lot today in this episode. Oh, can I just give a quick shout out because I promised I would? My dear friend Emily Smith, she reached out to me yesterday and was the first person that actually, well, one of the first people that reached out. Oh, fix myself because I said the wrong thing. She's one of the first persons to reach out to give me just notes and feedback. And you guys, I read about 3 or 4 times and was crying of just tears of just, I'm just so moved. And so, gosh, someone took the time to listen. It's one thing for you to watch or listen to this, but to actually reach out, comment, or just give a share or just anything, anything to give back to this meant the absolute world to me. And I just wanted her to know that it gave me a lot of love and confidence, and I was just deeply moved by your words. And even though they weren't anything deep, they were just notes. They just meant so much to me. And I just wanted to thank you. I just wanted to thank you for taking time to do that because things like that really go a long way and really do um, give me the support and confidence that I need to keep doing it. Because even if it's just one person that I'm reaching out to who can relate or just has the time to listen, I think that's just really, truly special. And so I just wanted to say thank you. And to everyone else, obviously, family and friends who have reached out and supported, thank you so much for always taking time to listen. And I know I say this all the time, but I promise this is going to get a lot more fun. It's going to get a lot better. And I can't wait. I can't wait for the next episode. Everyone, I hope you have a wonderful week. It's almost a weekend. Episode 7 is coming out Monday. And would love your feedback. I didn't give you a ready or not moment story, but I kind of did today with the bee thing. So, plenty of time for that. So, I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening to the Born Reddy Podcast. I'm Anthony Reddy, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Ready or not, here I come. Thanks, everyone.